How much is public safety worth? That's a question voters will face next month in Proposition 310. It's a ballot measure that would bump up sales tax to support rural fire districts across Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Haley Smilow has more on the proposal from our Washington bureau.
Freitag doesn't think Proposition 310 asks for too much if it means guaranteeing safety in Arizona.
Prop 310 is a 1/10 of a cent sales tax, so it's 1 penny on every $10.
But what may seem like a small amount of money to Freitag is not for Amy Yentes, the vice president of the Arizona Free Enterprise Club. It's a tax plain and simple, and she says that now is the wrong time for a tax increase.
We can do a lot better. I think that taxpayers deserve better. They can't even afford gas to get to work, let alone driving. Come back with a better, more well-defined solution that doesn't punish people who aren't going to benefit from this service and expect them to pay more.
Yentes believes that Proposition 310 is a broad solution to a narrow problem that will end up forcing urban residents to bail out rural fire districts. Big cities are served by fire departments that would not benefit from the proposed tax increase.
An ill-conceived solution for a poorly defined problem, and that was part of our frustrations. Proponents of this really should be providing a business case.
But supporters of Proposition 310 argue that the funding is desperately needed by the 144 fire districts in the state, many of which are understaffed and working with out-of-date equipment. And the rural areas they serve often do not have the tax base to fund the improvements needed.
A lot of the smaller districts who are running fire engines from the 1980s or using SCBAs that are outdated and should no longer be used.
Supporters say it's not about nickels and dimes. It's about the difference between life and death. Bryan Jeffries, president of the Professional Firefighters of Arizona, says it should only take 5 minutes for firefighters to respond in an emergency. But in rural fire districts, he says response times can take roughly 30 minutes.
In emergencies, minutes and seconds count. And right now, response times are going up dramatically throughout the state of Arizona in our fire districts as a result of this lack of funding.
Freitag, who supports Proposition 310, just asks voters to do one thing before they make their decision.
Whether you vote yes or no, just make sure you're informed.
In Washington, Haley Smilow, Cronkite News.
If approved by voters, Proposition 310 would raise the sales tax by 1/10 of a penny across Arizona for 20 years, from next January to December of 2042. If it fails, fire districts will continue to be funded with local property tax revenues.